This is Digital Anarchist.
All right, we're back in LA live for KubeCon. Thanks for joining us. I'm really happy to be joined by a friend of mine, Ashish Kuthiala. Truth be told, I first met Ashish when he was at HP in their DevOps practice. Before that, Ashish was with Electric Cloud, which if you're a DevOps person, was one of the early players. Actually, Gene Kim's DevOps Enterprise Summit started out as the Electric Cloud User Conference. Exactly. Ashish went from HP, and from there he went to a little company called GitLab, which today IPO'd and I think closed. Well, I don't want to embarrass Ashish, but I think it closed at 104 or something like that today.
Right, yes.
But Ashish left GitLab and has helped now found or lead the marketing efforts of Traceable AI, which if you're not familiar is another company that's started by Jyoti Bansal. Jyoti is of course the founder of AppDynamics and Harness, and now Traceable AI, his third company in here. So that's just a little pedigree and lineage, right? Ashish, welcome.
Thank you,
I feel like
Alan.
I'm describing a thoroughbred, right?
No, thank you so much.
Welcome and thanks for being here. I wanted to talk a little bit about Traceable AI though, Ashish. You know, for me the big story at KubeCon this year is around observability.
Right.
But one of the kind of underlying stories I see with observability is the ability to do tracing and what a powerful tool it is. Traceable AI is a great example of this. While traceable is in the name, Traceable AI, it's really just the underlying technology that you guys have built or use to really do a great job as the world moves beyond WAFs. API security is where it's at today.
Absolutely.
Right? That's where the new attack surfaces is. People realizing we need to understand what our exposure here is.
Absolutely.
And it's something you guys are pioneering. Was it 2 or 3 months ago we did a live event?
About 3 months ago, yeah.
3 months ago you announced a free
version of one of our offerings.
Yep, and that was aimed, it's funny, it was, Traceable AI is a tool like many DevSecOps tools. It's for developers to help them do security. Of course, Traceable AI security, a lot of security folks have been jumping on it. But if you're a developer out here, right, why should the developers be using this?
Absolutely. So just to set a little bit of the bigger picture here, if you look at the way the app world is transforming and changing, we all know that more APIs are being adopted, whether you're developing APIs, you're using internal APIs, or even calling on external vendor APIs. It's the fast way to develop your application, leverage the best minds and software out there. And so what's happening is, it's very hard to secure your border anymore. It's not the castle and moat model.
No, that's gone.
And traffic is flowing through so many points. There's data on top of it. People create API specifications and they are violated all the time. Not always on purpose, but sometimes you just need to get something done and you write code, or you write an API and you don't document it. So as a result, there are so many shadow APIs, there's so many APIs that have been modified, third-party APIs that you just don't know anything about. So both from the development or engineering perspective and the security perspective, it's really important, first of all, to know what's my inventory of APIs. So often our customers, when they run our tool, discover APIs they had no clue that existed.
Right.
And then they find that, we also we inventory them, but we also then do some risk assessment and we score them. And then people will find that many APIs are out of spec or have some sort of security risk, whether it's the data or the way it's being used. So both on the development side, you want to know what APIs you're using. You want to know who's using them. Sometimes you want to charge back to some departments, if that's the need. You also want to know, what's in spec, out of spec, what you can use. But then ultimately security is everybody's responsibility, like we have been talking about.
Yep.
It's not just the security team who wants to know what's going on and where the danger is. Development wants to know it too. Are they going to use an API that's risky? Did they introduce something in the system that's risky? So it's a tool meant for the entire enterprise.
Agreed. To me, the problem, Ashish, boils down to who sets these APIs up?
Yeah.
It's not the security guy doesn't install or set up the API. Let's face it.
Right.
He's often or she often is the last person to know, right? Oh, there's
Absolutely.
an API there.
Yes.
The APIs get done either by the development or DevOps team, maybe by the application, SREs, stuff like that, but not the security folks.
But also externally. You may be leveraging one.
Or
it's
a
not
third
just
party,
internally, or a third party
exactly.
one,
Right. So, again, this is a common problem in security. Stuff rolls downhill.
Yes.
And it winds up in the security guy or the security gal's bucket of, hey, did you know about that API? Is it secured? I didn't even know it was there. It's a third-party thing.
Or even worse, you discover it after the fact, when data has been breached.
When
an API's business logic has been abused.
Yep.
Right?
So I think part of the mission for Traceable AI, and this is a hard one, is, security is everyone's responsibility. That's up here.
Yep.
But you need to get down here, which is, if you install an API or you use an API, you own it. And if
Have
you break it, you own it.
Exactly.
So if you have used an API, have you documented it?
Right.
Have you documented it? Have you run a scan to see if it's secure? Do the necessary parties who need to know about it know about it?
Absolutely. There's an additional element to that, right? So it's not just the APIs. The data that's being passed around it. Are you violating any PII rules?
Yeah.
Are you passing data that's being exposed?
Yep.
So it goes deeper than that. A data breach or interception of this.
Well, that's where the bite comes in, right? You get a data breach with PII or HIPAA information, stuff like that, you're in trouble. So, again, I think we need a mindset shift of don't blame the security guy after the fact when your API goes south, right? If you're working in APIs, you got to be using something like Traceable AI to understand what you got here.
So one is the fact to understand like what exists, what risk it carries, who's interacting with whom. But there's a whole other aspect of this where everything can seem normal, everything is protected, but there can be external, let's call them hackers or people trying to break into the system who can actually abuse your business logic. So I'll give you a simple example. You might have a discount code on your website for 90% intended to be used one time for one item. But hackers can actually abuse this logic by repeatedly applying the same 90% discount and deleting your inventory at 10% the price that you intended to sell. And there's no security that's looking out for that. So you have to understand your business logic and understand when that's being violated.
Again,
so
not the security person's
it's
job.
not something that security is looking for, right?
And this
it's fraud.
Yeah. So this is I think that's the challenge in Traceable, as you probably know better than me, but that's the challenge you have in Traceable AI is it's not just using your tool. Once they understand what the problem is, I think using your tool is a no-brainer, right? Or the service.
Right. Yeah,
it's understanding that problem that exists.
Exactly. You talked about WAFs, earlier in conversation. Now WAFs are, just like your antivirus tools used to be on your PCs, signature-based, looking for attacks in the past. They don't know what's coming next.
Look,
and so you need to understand that logic and be able to block it. You can't put a wall in front of anything anymore.
I'm not going to tell you WAFs are obsolete, but if WAF is your if WAF is your defense with APIs involved, it's like the Maginot Line the French used in World War II.
Yes.
Didn't work so good. You know,
They used to, but no
it
more.
worked good in World War One.
Exactly.
But you can't fight World War One in World War Two.
No.
And
So-
you can't fight WAFs in a world of API transactions
absolutely.
that are actually going kind of outside that WAF and everything, right?
No, it's, look, the pace of change is really rapid right now. It's very hard to manually keep up. So you need something that automatically understands any changes that happen, but also adapt to any business logic that you're changing and protect you. You can no longer like just place defenses, and hope that they will work. You just need to be integrated into your application logic almost, like to understand what's going wrong when it does.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen a few companies here I've spoken to over the last 2 days that are dealing with APIs. Not necessarily API security per se, let's call it more API management.
Right. API observability, risk management,
Number one is similar to what you talk about, which is, hey, at first we need to know what APIs do we have?
Absolutely.
But then beyond that, like, for instance, duplicate APIs that do the same exact thing.
Yes.
You installed one API, you left the company.
Right.
6 months later, I didn't realize you got that
You
API.
coded it back again.
I installed another one.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a different API, does the same thing. So now we got two APIs doing the same exact thing. One gets older.
Or it morphs because you added some logic to it.
Right, something I added.
Right.
And there is no, it's the Wild West out there with this.
Right now it is, because people are still learning. Right?
So what do we got to do?
I think we need to educate the market that this is a real problem. Often, we're finding out, because, we just launched last year. We just launched our free product. And as we are interacting with more prospects and customers, we're realizing that everybody understands the wording API and API management and security, but they don't place it on their topmost priority. It's almost like, I understand it's important, but I'm not sure if I need to do something about it right now.
Right.
And that risk is getting exponentially greater every day, every minute. So all of us, right, not just Traceable, but every other vendor who's working in this space needs to start to educate the market. And you see Gartner now shifting and talking about why APIs are important, why managing them and managing their security around that is important. So I'm starting to see this shift in educating the market.
You know what? So unfortunately, and I'm not banging anyone, but if it's gotten to the point where Gartner's seeing it, it's almost already too late. That means it's a real problem.
Already. It's a real problem.
Because they're kind of a lagging indicator, not a leading indicator. I don't, and it's good that they are. I'm happy they are, but I almost feel like, and I don't know if it's a CNCF thing, because we really see this with service meshes, for instance, right? They're big API abusers as well as users.
Users, abusers, yes.
Yeah. Or do we need some other sort of API security consortium to help, take a single vendor out of it and educate the market about it?
I think we need to join hands. It's a huge problem, and people are starting to speak about it and educate it. Coming together to educate everybody serves in everybody's best interests. Absolutely does.
I got some ideas. We'll talk offline, but I want to call my friends at RSA conference in February and see.
That'd be awesome.
I'll talk to you about it offline. I got an idea, but it's a problem. But nevertheless, you want to get out ahead of this problem. You want to, jump on it. Ashish, where can they go get your free trial?
I think it's really easy. You go to traceable.ai/free, or just go to traceable.ai and you will see, what it is. Pretty easy to sign up. And we made it a self-service product. In security, that's pretty rare. So you can sign up, you can kind of deploy your own, instance, and you can start to see all your APIs, and you can start to see the risk associated with risk scores, etc. When underneath of this, there's a very complex machine learning language, a platform that's observing what's going on in your traffic and learning your normal baseline behavior versus what's abnormal.
All right.
So this is all something you can try, and you don't have to pay for it. You can
And
just
it's
sign
free.
up.
Go check it out. That's traceable.ai/free. Ashish, thanks for coming on and talking with us,
My
man.
pleasure,
it's a pleasure
Alan.
to see you.
Nice to see you again.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll be right back here. We're live in LA. We'll be back in a moment. Thanks.